up, Doc?
What are you?
I'm Batman.
You talking to me? You talking to me? You talking to me?
Look, you got a first baseman?
Yes.
Then tell me the fella's name playing first.
Who?
The guy playing first.
That's his name.
Wait, what's the guy's name on first base?
Why, there's the guy's name on second base.
Who's playing second?
Who's playing first?
I don't know.
He's on third base.
Do you expect me to talk? No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die.
Where do you live?
In the city.
Do you have a house?
Apartment.
Own or rent?
Rent.
What do you do for a living?
Lots of things.
Where's your office?
I don't have one.
How come?
I don't need one.
Where's your wife?
Don't have one.
How come?
It's a long story.
Do you have kids?
No, I don't.
How come?
It's an even longer story.
Are you my dad's brother?
What's your record for consecutive questions asked?
38.
I'm your dad's brother, all right.
You have much more hair on your nose than my dad.
How nice of you to notice.
I'm a kid. That's my job.
I'm Detective Carter. Do you speak any English? Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
You got an outfield?
Sure.
The left fielder's name.
Why?
I just thought I'd ask you.
Well, I just thought I'd tell you.
The left fielder's name.
Why?
Because!
Oh, the center field. I know these players as well.
All I'm trying to find out is what's the guy's name in left field?
Now, what is on second?
I'm not asking you who's on second.
Who's on first?
I don't know. Third base.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the LoloLovesFilms live cast. I am Lolo.
And I'm Big J.
And we are here with a very special guest today. But before we introduce him, we want to talk about this brand new segment that we decided to start here on our podcast. We were thinking we have such a wonderful, active little community of people that we've built through our podcast and through Instagram, and we've all kind of gotten to know each other a little bit, but not really. You guys always join in our chat room, and you guys call in, and we have our Cinephile Film Club, and it's so wonderful. And sometimes we feel like we know your names, but we don't really know you. So what we wanted to do, and we've had this in mind for a couple months now, and we wanted to get it right, and we wanted to get it perfect. We wanted to wait till we got a new microphone, really. And we are very proud to start our Get to Know a Cinephile segment here on the show. What we're going to do is we're going to have a caller. We don't know how often we're going to do it. Maybe every other week, maybe once a month. We're not sure. We'll let you know. That's the only kink we have left to work out. And we're going to basically give a little bit back to you guys for listening to us, and we can all get to know each other, and we're going to ask you questions about movies, and it's going to be a really fun time. I'm excited. Big J is excited. So without further ado, let's give a warm welcome to our guest, the esteemed, the prestigious, a good old JM. Please introduce yourself, good sir.
Yes, hi. Well, first of all, thank you very much for having me. It's such a privilege. I am good old JM. Been active podcast-wise for the past nearly 2.5 years, give or take. And we as in me and Lolo met through mutual friends over at the weekend show that we do together on the BKC radio network, and we've got to know each other off air and found a lot of things in common, including with Big Day as well. And once again, thank you very much for having me here.
Well, we are very, very honored to have you as our first guest. Thank you for agreeing. And I'm very glad that you said yes, because, I know some of these answers to these questions, I think, if I could guess. Mm-hmm. And I have a bet with Josh for one of these questions for $5, which we will definitely ask you.
Oh boy.
Okay. So basically what we did was, for the last couple months, we have tooled a list of questions we would like to know about you guys. We would like to know your preferences, know your favorites, know your dislikes about movies. What do you love? What do you hate? So we have sent Mike a list of about 40 different questions. We're not going to ask them all. Don't worry. It's not going to be a 7-hour show. We're going to try and keep each episode around an hour and a half probably. Okay, maybe less. Big J did not know that apparently. He made
shook
a
his
face
head
at
and
me.
like,
He's like, what? So
I
this
got
is
things
going to
to
be a
do.
real good time.
Yeah.
So, like I said, we did send you these questions. You are prepared, but we may have a couple that you don't know about that we're going to ask you rapid fire. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. We
Oh,
wouldn't put
great.
you on the spot like that. He's like, wait, what? So, let's get started then. So, get to know a cinephile. We're going to start very, very simply. And Mike, you have the question guide open in front of you, yes?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So number 3, which probably should be number 1, but we're working on the list still.
Right.
Let's just start plain and simple. What is your favorite movie?
Yeah, this took me a while to figure out because there's so many. But if I can name a few,
Sure.
top of my head, there's Scarface. There's Scarface with Al Pacino because that was a remake. The Crow with Brandon Lee, and a couple of that not many will know about or maybe forgotten. The Heavenly Kid and Once Bitten. That was, I think, the first Jim Carrey film he's ever done. And there's only one least favorite, and that's The Temple of Doom. And not because of its Indiana Jones flick, but I don't remember her name, and I'm kind of glad I don't because that female role, that love interest or whatever, annoying character, just screaming like every 2 minutes, Indy, and yeah. As a kid, maybe I was alright, but then seeing it recently as a grown up, I used to like this movie. What? Oh, I gotta retrace my steps and look over my library again.
The Heavenly Kid. Now, that's the thing about this Q&A segment is you can give us your answers, and we can respond if we want to. It's not just like, what is your favorite movie? What is your least favorite movie? And then you answer.
Right.
This is like to prompt a discussion. So my first question back to you is, you said Once Bitten with Jim Carrey. I've seen that movie on many lists of movies that are like the worst movies ever made. You clearly don't agree with that. Why do you love Once Bitten?
It was probably one of my first films I saw as a kid on VHS, VCR. You know, before DVDs and Blu-rays, there were VHSs and VCRs, folks. And it was one of the first comedies I've seen that made me laugh a lot. Of course, being an 80s film, there was a lot of sexual innuendo that I didn't get at the time. So those jokes I didn't laugh at, and much later I did. But you know, it just stuck out because stood out for me, I should say, because it's a bunch of teenagers who just got into college, and at that point in time, I was like, am I looking forward to do half of these things when I reach their age? Of course, there were 20-year-olds playing teenagers, but yeah, it stuck out, and I kind of followed Jim Carrey's career since then, even up to his bit of a downfall after Dumb and Dumber 2, and. And yeah, just one of those that and one of many 80s flicks that stuck in mind and more closer to my heart. As like, wow, I mean, I gotta get it. It's on Blu-ray. I just haven't got a chance to purchase it yet. Amazon, Best Buy, wherever. But that's basically one of my projects now, to build up that collection of Blu-ray 80s films and put on my shelf somewhere.
Well, yeah, we could be right there with you with Once Bitten. It's not necessarily one of our favorites, but I do own it on DVD. We have it in our collection, so it is a fun movie. I do enjoy it. Heavenly Kid's kind of interesting. I remember seeing that. I've seen that movie like twice.
I've never seen it.
Yeah.
I think, and I remember it. I remember liking it, but I trying to remember more about it. I know it's like one kid dies like at playing chicken in the car.
Yeah.
And then he comes back to life many years later.
That's not true. Manny actually said, hey, we should watch this movie, I feel like, at one point on his live stream. That's not true. I have heard of this movie, but I've never seen it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What is it about the Heavenly Kid you like?
Well, first of all, I didn't know until many years later. There's two different versions of it, the TV version and the theatrical. And TV version doesn't, the added scenes doesn't help much with the plot, so I can see why they got rid of it by the time it got to DVD. But again, another one of those comedy flicks that really caught my attention. Just, I guess I was looking forward to growing up so fast at that point in time. I was taking mental notes to see what I can and cannot get away with. So obviously one not to do is play chicken. Either towards each other or heading towards a cliff. I don't care what the bet is. I would never do such a thing. And the son, Jason Gidrick, I believe his name is, the son in the '80s. He's I saw him as a smart kid, but just things didn't work out his way when it came to dating or wanted to be the girl he was dreaming about, and it took his father that he had no idea had passed away. Spoilers, by the way. And it took his father that he never met until he came back in as a ghost forms, and just showed them the ways and how to be a man at such a young age. But again, that's one of those that stuck to my heart and grown really fond of. And again, as you say, may not be one of the best ever, but a lot of films from that time period that really stick to people's minds and their favorites.
Yeah. So you got a lot of nostalgia with those movies, and they just kind of stuck with you. Now, speaking of
Yeah.
nostalgia, what would be the first movie you remember actually seeing in the theater?
And real quick, my grandma actually added an addendum to that. She said, "How old
Yep.
were you when you saw your first movie in the theater?" So, and real quick
Wow.
before we get into the answer, if you guys
Yeah.
have questions for Mike, or if you have questions you want us to ask anybody that comes on the segment, just let us know in the chat room, and we can totally add them. And Mike, we won't put you on the spot this time, but for next time, unless you feel comfortable, for next time we can add them. So, Mike, go ahead.
First film remembering, wow, that would have to be The Karate Kid Part 2. So that would have made me about 6, 7 years old, give or take. And it was my dad's idea. And we just saw the first Karate Kid on VHS, and we found out there's a sequel. Like, oh, well, we got to go see it then. And it's been like one of those... It has that one, a bit of training montage, a little bit.
Oh yeah.
and
Even Rocky had a montage.
right, and it's just one of those films that had an awesome score, an awesome soundtrack that went with it. And to this day, I think about it with great care and fond. I went out of my way to get the box set, including the next Karate Kid. I guess that was shoehorned in there for some reason. And yeah, that one I really had to think about because I wasn't sure if it was that one or if it was Batman, but I had to see which one came out first, and it was Karate Kid Part 2.
Did you ask your dad if that was correct, or do you just remember?
No, I remember because before then it's very vague, and I really had to like trace my steps back from looking through my collection and maybe even doing a Google search, like what year did this film come out, and it just wasn't adding up. I was like, wait, okay, so it's Karate Kid 2. Okay, so Karate Kid 2.
Yeah, you said you liked the soundtrack of that. Is that the reason the movie stuck with you? Is there like is there a particular scene? I know the ice breaking scene I always remember from that movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is there a particular...
Of course.
The ice
Sorry.
breaking scene for sure. No problem. Yeah, the ice breaking scene for sure, and that little bit that when Daniel went out on his date to the dance club, and he just won his money. Yeah, he just won his money from the ice breaking, and the same guys that basically, threatened him into doing it, come over, drunk out of their minds, and beat him up and take his money back, only to Daniel perform the move that Mr. Miyagi just showed them earlier in the day, and that's a swift jab in the nuts and take his money back and just sprint out of the club and see you next time. So yeah, that kind of stuck with me. Not that I went out nut punching him throughout my childhood, but it was definitely a good self-defense technique.
Oh yeah. Okay, so now you like the Karate Kid Part 2. You saw it. You have fond memories of it. Why
Yes.
do you prefer that one over the far superior Karate Kid 4 with Hilary Swank?
Wow.
And I will never forgive you if you say you hate that movie, because I love that movie.
Well, I wouldn't say I hate it. I'll give it credit because it tried to do something different within the same universe, even though it was only Mr. Miyagi. But it was just basically a repeat of the original. Only difference was there was a female lead, and little little feisty one too. And Hillary, well, the character anyway was feisty. And I don't get it. And that drill sergeant, security officer, whatever, in a high school, really, that's that's the tactics that you teach these kids while going to gym or well, think about it.
No, I don't want to.
Oscar winner Hillary Swank.
Oscar winner Hillary
The
Swank.
next Karate Kid.
I love that one. No, it's obviously it's like the worst movie ever made, but that's see, that's the thing is we can if you say something, we can say something. This is good.
Right.
Okay, so I know that you said there were a couple questions at the top of our list that you really liked. So let's just go with number 2. What is the first film you purchased on VHS or DVD? Or, since all three of us are old as hell, Betamax, 8-track, I don't know. That's music.
Well, the betas in my family didn't last past maybe the first year because by then VHS was coming about. But the ones I personally purchased out of allowance or the little job I might have had back in the day, the first VHS was Transformers the movie, the original animated film.
Wow.
And without the swearing, apparently, because there were like 2 or 3 different versions with swearing, without swearing, a hint of the swearing. Yeah, it's way before special features, that's for sure, and deleted scenes. My first DVD was The Crow City of Angels because it said exclusive director's cut, and that ended up being a lie. It's just a few extra scenes of the crow flying around. That's it. Like, really? Director's cut? The bird?
Sure,
just
30 seconds.
Right, just left the camera on and you follow the bird. Really? That was it. And yeah, ever since then, slowly but surely been building up my collection. Of course, updating to Blu-rays, and I'll say I have about 5 bookshelves that are just under 6 feet tall, full of them.
That's actually another really good question that's not on our list. How many DVDs or Blu-rays or movies do you own? That's a great question.
Wow.
So you said, if you had to guess like an exact number, how many do you think you own, like an exact number?
Yeah, definitely over 100 because I don't know if you remember, I mentioned a while back that even though I buy, say, a DVD of one film and it has the specific special features or commentary and whatnot, and then later on the Blu-ray version comes, and then they have those extra features with updated commentary or never before seen footage. So I repurchase the Blu-ray version, and I keep both because most likely, better yet, more for historical purposes, and in case say the DVD version is different from the Blu-ray film itself or the movie. Well, which one do you want? The extended version or the director's cut or the producer's vision, what this and that? And yeah, that way I can say, well, I own 5 different versions of one film, so let me know which one you want to watch or discuss, and I'll pop it right in.
Nice.
So are there any directors working in Hollywood that you are a big fan of right now? Who's your favorites currently working?
Currently working, well, gotta go with a bit of the young breed, of course. Well, the younger breeds, I should say. Of course, there's J.J. Abrams. There's the Russos, and a few others that have been around for a while that still do on occasion pop out a film here and there. There's Jackie Chan, there's Clint Eastwood, Oliver Stone, James Wan, F. Gary Gray, and John Singleton. Did I mention Peter Jackson? Yeah, and Peter Jackson as well.
Oh, that's a good one. F. Gary Gray just directed a movie that we watched not too long ago, and it was like bizarre because he did Straight Outta Compton, and we loved that movie. But then he directed this other random thing, and we were like, he directed this movie? Yeah, look it up. I can't remember what it is, but we were kind of like, wait, what? What's going on here?
What is your favorite F. Gary Gray movie? Is it Straight Outta Compton is your favorite, or do you have another one? Oh, he did The Fate of the Furious as well, but...
Yeah, he did.
It's not a film.
Yeah, because don't tell Manny that.
He's very particular.
Right, and very very sensitive about it. But I would say the most recent one is Straight Outta Compton because to me, I feel like he just keeps upping his own game when it comes to such dramatic storylines to tell. And when it comes to films like Straight Outta Compton or Notorious, I haven't seen All Eyes on Me yet, but I'm sure it's very similar in tone and the storytelling itself, where it makes you feel as if you were there. It's so realistically done, and kind of like maybe go back a little in the case of Straight Outta Compton, growing up in the early to mid '90s. I was like, yeah, I remember the kind of music that was playing, the language or the diction that people were speaking with, and that took me back. I was like, wow, when you can do it, personally, when you can do that for me, and kind of like maybe make me relive a certain point in my life, and it's done on film, visually, or by audio. And maybe not a 10 out of 10, because I'm sure I'll find something to nitpick about it, but a very high score in my book. And I'll say, yeah, great movie, great film. I wish I could say Fate of the Furious is a film, but man, I'm sorry, Manny, sorry.
Sorry. It's kind of a film, not gonna lie. The movie, the F. Gary Gray movie we were talking about was A Man Apart with Vin Diesel, because we were doing our Vin Diesel list that never actually came to fruition. But he did direct that, and you can see some shadows of similarities between all the movies he's directed. Friday, A Man Apart, even Be Cool, even something like The Italian Job. He doesn't really have a major type as a director. Like with J.J. Abrams, he has those sunbursts, which everybody, lens flares, whatever they're called. That's J.J. Abrams. There he goes. I mean, Super 8, it was very apparent. You mentioned J.J. Abrams. And I think that, do you think that F. Gary Gray has a specific directorial style that you enjoy? Or any of those directors you named, really? Because Clint Eastwood's another one where he doesn't have a specific thing about him that's, oh yeah, that's a Clint Eastwood movie.
Right. Oh my goodness, which one that comes to mind? The one where he goes, "Get off my lawn." Oh my God.
Gran Torino?
Gran Torino, yeah, thank you. Eastwood, in particular, again, I think maybe he has a little bit more touch of realism when it comes to the visuals. Might also be due to the cinematography, but between him and F. Gary Gray, it's a toss-up for me, and also depends the story that they're telling. Of course, F. Gary Gray, in particular, he's told more stories that most of us are aware of because they happen in real life. Eastwood takes one idea and usually it just explodes it into a script and comes back with a screenplay, and it's. I wouldn't call it a fantasy, but maybe something that someone that he knows thought of, puts it into words, and makes a film about it. Because Gran Turismo, in particular, for me growing up, maybe not in that time period in particular, but the fact that they touched the subjects of prejudice and territory, so to speak, and how one group of people cannot get along with the other, and he was like the middle guy. It was like, why, in so many words, like, why can't we all just get along? Just get off my lawn, basically.
He said everything I've ever wanted to say to those damn kids down the street. Is that your turn or is it my turn? Okay. So kind of to follow up on those same, on the same token, what is, or name some of your favorite directors that are no longer working in Hollywood? Maybe they've passed away. Maybe they've just retired. Give us a list if you've got one.
One came to mind, Martin Brest.
Martin Brest, huh?
If you hear me typing, guys, I am Googling while we...
That's the one that you kind of stumped me on. Well, he's
going to look it up.
You're going to have to Google breast now.
Hold on. Just Googling breast. Oh, wait. No, that was bad.
Don't click on images. What's wrong with you?
Do not click on images when you Google breast.
Okay, yeah, I see. Midnight Run. He directed Beverly Hills Cop.
Oh, Scent of a Woman.
Yes.
He didn't. Oh. Ugh.
Oh.
I see what ended his career, though, so that's kind of...
Oh, he did Geely was his very last movie. Oh.
He had a few really good ones. Going in Style, we just watched. It was a solid comedy, classic kind of comedy. They just remade it.
Yeah.
Beverly Hills Cop, of course, is a classic, as is Midnight Run. Scent of a Woman, of course, got Al Pacino an Oscar, I believe. So
it did, I think.
So yeah, there are a lot of solid movies. That's a name I did not recognize when you said it. So you kind of sounded
okay.
that I did not even know about.
Good. That's great.
Yeah, he's mostly known for directing. He might have appeared, I think, and also in Fast Time at Richmond Hyde. He played one of the doctors. I can't remember. When they go to the hospital as part of their biological class or bio class, and they show that the corpse. I believe he played the doctor there who reveals the body to the rest of the students. But yeah, Martin Brest, and as you mentioned, most of the films he directed, I grew up watching, and of all of them, I'll say Midnight Run is my favorite, mainly because that's how I learned how to use the F word so many times by by Robert De Niro.
Yeah, Midnight Run's a great movie. Actually, it's really funny with De Niro in there. And
I was gonna say, is that the one with Is It Safe? That's Marathon Man,
that's
right?
Marathon Man.
Okay.
I think Midnight Run's where he has to bring. He's like a bail bondsman, and he has to bring the guy back in.
Marathon running. Come on.
Yeah, it's that. What's his name? I'm trying to remember the comedian. I'd have to look back to the movie. I just have to go back. He's right on the Charles Grodin. It's
Yeah.
Robert De Niro and Charles Grodin. And Charles Grodin's a funny guy, actually. If you've seen a lot of his comedies, he's a kind of a subtly witty humor guy. He's not like as spastic as a lot of the comedians now. He's more like something about quick wit. And we can.
He's in Beethoven.
Yeah, he is in Beethoven. But we can extend from Brest here.
You're going to extend from Brest? He literally grabbed my boobs. You guys can't see it. He said, "We're going to extend from Brest," and he totally grabbed my tits.
Because he did have a movie that got remade. He did the movie with George Burns that just got remade. So speaking of remakes, we're going to go, what is the most egregious remake? Like the worst remake you've ever seen done?
Yes, good one.
There aren't many, but pretty much any movie or any film that previously won for best film, best picture, and then all of a sudden it's remade for whatever reason, and thanks to Tim Burton, where he introduced the phrase or the term reimagining, I'm like, no, it's a remake and of the same story told differently. So anyone that comes out today after Tim Burton saying reimagining, it's like, no, you're full of it. It's a remake or a reboot to whatever it is. I'll give them some credit for trying an E for effort, but if it flops, it flops. And if you just can't stick to the source material or fix what might have been wrong with the original or the previous story, then you shouldn't be touching it. But movie companies got to make some kind of money from somewhere and cough up or try to come up with the right actors, the right director, producers, and whatnot. And it just doesn't always work. And from the directors I mentioned, they know what they're looking for. They know what they want out of their actors, and say, no, do it this way and say it like that, and make the dialogue sound not only really good, but to make it make sense. And not everything is Shakespeare. I understand that, but if there's no effort, there's no trying. And if you see it, then you failed. Like 10 minutes into the movie, I could watch, and it's a remake, and I see all those flaws I mentioned. Automatic fail.
Ben-Hur, we're looking at you.
Yeah, the Ben-Hur remake is especially bad because I think we've talked about this on the show before, where they completely change Judah Ben-Hur. They change his intentions and what actually happens that gets him
in trouble.
He actually commits a crime in the remake, and he doesn't commit a crime in the original. So changes the intent of the entire movie.
In the first remake, the original's from 1930s. The first one actually was a remake, so you actually have a good remake there. And then we get the Ben-Hur one recently, which is one that really sticks out for us because it was a remake of a Best Picture. There are some remakes that work. I mean, we just saw My Cousin Rachel, and that worked. And some remakes do work. And if there is a movie from maybe from your childhood, from the 80s or something, that you think has a really good concept that would maybe be good for a remake now, is there any movie back then that would be good to remake?
Maybe an underappreciated gem or...
Well, from what I mentioned before, I would love to see something like The Heavenly Kid be remade properly. Maybe another chance to Once Bitten. And there were a lot, especially from the 80s, that, like you said, Lolo that pretty much unappreciated or just somehow was underneath the radar to a lot of people. But another one's called Secret Admirer, which another one that I grew up with watching. More than likely was probably the movie that I've seen boobs for the first time in a movie. Thanks
Bring more
to
breasts.
thanks to Kelly Preston, Travolta's wife. Yeah, she was.
Mrs.
She
John
was.
Travolta.
Yeah, she was naked. And
Thomas Howell.
Thomas Howell, who looks just like Jeffrey Dean Morgan, I think. Is that just me?
Yeah, when
He's
he has
close,
the beard,
yeah.
he kind of does.
Yeah, and I'm glad he's still working. Well, you've seen him probably most recently in The Amazing Spider-Man as that construction worker, and obviously he's a little older and wiser, but he could pass for a middle-aged character, and he still got the acting chops. I thought he fell off the radar, similar to the Coreys, Feldman and the other guy Hames,
Mm-hmm.
and from that era, from the 80s, or like Kirk Cameron, who just refuses not to work on anything that's not one of his faithful ideas. Like literally, if it's not religiously related from his point of view, he won't partake. But then again, he has his own production company, so he's okay. But yeah, mostly films from the 80s, I believe. Not Ghostbusters, but we went through it last year, so what's done is done. And I'm glad that they took a shine towards Mad Max with Fury Road, and I haven't heard if they're going to follow up with Tom Hardy's version or from that universe, but I hope they do. I mean, that was very impressive. I thought I wasn't going to appreciate it, but I did, to be honest. And there's so many. It's just too many to mention. But yeah, the vast majority come from the 80s, in particular the late 80s, when it comes to teen comedy dramas, where everything nowadays is a little bit more sensitive in characters, where it's kind of like a role reversal, where the men are more sensitive than the women in films. And I think we could see more of that, not so much the damsel in distress or woe is me, he broke my heart, and then here's a bouquet of flowers and makes everything better. Nah, I mean, what about the men? They cry too, don't they?
Goddamn right they do. Let's get some variation in there. My turn?
Yeah,
Okay.
go ahead.
Let's see. I'm just trying to see. What is your favorite movie trilogy? If you had to pick just one, because there's so many now, especially. What's your favorite trilogy?
Did we lose him?
Do we lose Mike?
Hello, I'm
Hello,
sorry.
Mike. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. No, I was trying to say because I was adjusting my wire here. Definitely. Like many out there, the Back to the Future trilogy, and well, supposed to be just one film, and Bob Zemeckis and Bob Gale went on record. There's supposed to be a joke at the end of the first one to be continued, but studio was like, you see, you went with that joke, and now everybody's expecting a sequel. So come back to me and have part 2 and maybe a part 3, and then we'll talk. Took them 6 years later.
Yeah.
But we got it eventually, and of course had to do little tweaks here and there because George McFly didn't return. Oh my God, what's his name? The actor.
Crispin Glover.
Crispin Glover.
Yeah.
I was gonna say John Glover. No, that's the wrong Glover. But Crispin, yeah.
Not John or Danny.
No, not even close. But yeah, again, it's another one that sticks to my heart, and I can just watch that every day, all day, and not ever get bored.
Very cool. Okay, so Josh, you are next. Pick a number. I know we have quite a few questions. Jump on into whichever one you want, my friend.
Okay, I'll get you a tough one. Okay, what's your favorite movie quote?
Ooh. I could think of two. One from Schwarzenegger. Don't know why. I guess because it's funny that over the weekend, Lolo and I had this conversation on air on BKC when it came to machines, and the day will come that more than likely they'll take over and be our supreme leaders. And Schwarzenegger said in part 3 of Terminator, is like, desire is irrelevant. I am a machine. And probably most of my favorite ones that keeps, that gets me choked up after he passes away. But when Optimus Prime says, until all are one.
Oh, that's a good one. Transformers is also a film. So.
Yeah.
Manny's gonna kill you. Manny's gonna stop.
Manny's gonna stop listening.
Us everywhere.
Yeah.
Those are good. Those are solid. Because, I think the tendency with quotes is to go with the most recognizable, I'll be back. You know what I mean? Or
right.
I think that when we watch movies specifically, not to be selfish, because it is about you today. When we watch movies, I try to pick a quote that wasn't for new movies, that wasn't from the trailer or from an old movie, something that embodies the entire movie, but it's not like the I'll be back. And I think that your choice is desire's irrelevant. I am a machine. That's awesome. That's a great choice. That perfectly embodies the movie. You know exactly what is what. That's a great choice.
Because even after, I enjoyed Terminator 3. It's not even a guilty pleasure. I just guilty pleasure. I just enjoyed it. But once he said that line, and I think he might have said it in the trailer, but I didn't know at the time to what in what context. Who you're saying it to, and what's going on. And of course, you see John Connor try to plead with him, like, "No, that's not your mission. What are you doing?" I'm like, but that's what he was built for to begin with. If he wasn't reprogrammed, then whatever, all bets off. But soon after he fights, like, wait a minute, what? Yeah, this, I'm a machine. I was supposed to originally protect him. And here I am trying to kill him, and you see him struggling, the Terminator, and made the choice to shut himself down, not knowing that they could do that, but as we learn as we go, and rebooted himself to go back to protect them again to the death, literally. And it's like, well, now there you go. Now that's a friend, not made of whatever material that was that T-800s are made of. But yeah, I was like, holy crap! Wow, he fought against what he was intentionally made for. Like he went against the system, so to speak, literally.
I think that's so, yeah, absolutely. And I think that, did you see that movie in the theater, or did you just learn about it on, tape or Blu-ray or whatever?
T3, no, that one I did go see. I was hoping with the new production company, Warner Brothers at the time had the rights, we'll take a different route, but I still liked it, but the part of like the only part of it that caught my attention is the fact that the Judgment Day was delayed, it's meant to happen no matter what you do, and I think that was a lesson learned throughout other time traveling films, that you can change it all you want, you can do it differently all you want, but it's going to end up coming to what it is because it's faith. If others that believe in that, and okay, well that makes sense. Otherwise, why bring it back? Because part 2 should have been the end all to be all as far as the Terminator goes.
Yeah, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, he used to be a big star back in the day. He
Right.
used to be able to draw the box office just on his own thing. I'm going to get your opinion on something more modern, like more as far as box office goes. Do you think star power is dying out? Do you think celebrity matters as much today as it used to? Because it used to be like Jim Carrey's in the movie, it's going to be a draw. But today it seems more like the franchise oriented. Do you think there's any big stars that can still guarantee big box office anymore?
It's hard to say really, because as you mentioned, like a Jim Carrey or a Schwarzenegger, for a long time it was just a popularity contest, and if a certain name is not involved, people won't go see it. And I was part of that generation, or to an extent I still am, and I still follow a lot of those names. Versus today, whatever's considered new or different is from books like the Twilight series or the Hunger Games, and not so much star power. It's just a matter of, okay, who's decent enough. Like, I believe Jennifer Lawrence did a great job. I only saw the first Hunger Games, but never read the books. But I thought it was a delightful effort, and when they came out with the sequels. I never got a chance to see them, but it's all about, if you tell the story right, then you're good. It doesn't matter who plays the role, who plays the part, men, women, siblings, what have you, and just make sure you do it right. Similar to comic book films, you get the source material right, and you won't get bashed. Not too many people questioned or having a hard time dealing with Tom Holland being the new Spider-Man. By the time he debuted, the Spider-Man in Civil War, great. Who is it? All right, cool. We'll keep an eye on him. Who is he again? Did he? Oh, okay, but Spider-Man's in the movie, right? Yeah. All right, good enough. Who the hell's Tom Holland, the director? No, the actor. Wait, there's two of them. It's no, you know what I mean. So it's no longer a popularity contest. Just, I feel the way I see it, as long as the story's done or told right, that's all that matters.
Yeah, it's more the characters now that sell films, right? People are going to see Spider-Man. They're not going to see Tom Holland as Spider-Man, or they're not going to see even Robert Downey Jr., whose Iron Man has done other things and they just don't hit as well. Same with Chris Hemsworth.
The Judge, I think, specifically with Robert Downey Jr., I don't remember that making a ton of money. We saw it preview night, and there were like maybe 6 or 7 other people when we saw it.
Right.
Interesting area for film, you know.
Yeah. Well, okay, so Chung in the chat actually mentioned The Rock. Do you think that The Rock is an exception to that rule?
It's difficult to say because even to recently, he has done films that didn't exactly, or movies, sorry, Manny, that didn't exactly, perform tremendously money-wise or budget-wise or, ticket sales-wise. Of course, Baywatch, enough said. I think he's in the gray area because he did start off slow and with very very few great movie roles. I think The Scorpion King was his launching point. You fast forward to say you fast forward to say you fast forward to say Hercules, and not everyone liked it. It was all right. It wasn't as bad, and I think that one got more flack because of it was a Brett Ratner movie, and because of his recent history with X-Men 3 and I believe with the lackluster Rush Hour 3, and it's like well, similar to the actors, they also look for directors now too. Like who directed it? Okay, he has a few bombs recently, like movie bombs, and they haven't been doing so well as of late. So how about we give this one a shot because The Rock's in it?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think that there are a lot of directors right now too, where we were talking about Leonardo DiCaprio a little bit, not in terms of director, but as an actor. The Revenant made a ton of money, and that was not really a movie that everybody would clamor to see, I would think.
Yeah, I think Leo's one of the last remaining old superstars from who being in a movie will increase the box office, at least double the box office if it didn't have Leo. Like if you had anyone else in the role, it would not have done as well as just having Leonardo DiCaprio there, and I think he just has a huge fan base, and he's one of the few that still do. But I'm seeing a pattern in future that's dwindling. I mean, there's still stars out there,
Queen Meryl,
but she doesn't even draw a huge box office necessarily.
No, she doesn't.
But she's just a fine actress and a very good one. As is Leo, he's a very good actor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so let's. You just kind of jumped around.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, I'm gonna get one of these questions because. Movies are very subjective, obviously. You might like something that we completely hate and vice versa. But there are things like if I may speak for you, Big J, when two people are in a movie and they're standing, looking at each other, facing at each other, and the camera circles around the couple over and over and over and over and over. Twilight was notorious for that. They did it several times. Movie tropes. What is your most hated movie trope? That's Big J's. I'd love to know yours, Mike.
Well, first off, any director trying that bit, I get it. It's different. You're trying to do something different, for the sake of the movie or the story you're trying to tell, and it doesn't always work. I mean, I think the first time I seen that was maybe The Little Mermaids or something similar. And that was an animated film, but it made sense to go with it because it was part musical, and you got fishes dancing around, flamingos, and other types of animals. Um, you know, that's trope. Wow, that's a good one. I would say also Twilight, but recently or even after that, can't think of one. Maybe more of a dialogue. I'll say like let's get out of here. Like 9 out of 10 movies you see in a year, there's some character that says no matter what the situation is, let's get out of here because there's a war going on, or there's two lovers that just want to spend the night together, and let's get out of here. Or the dog needs to be picked up from the vet. All right, let's get out of here. Let's go pick him up. So, yeah, like 9 out of 10, I'll say in a year of every film, every movie I watch, across the board, horror, comedy, drama, what have you. Someone always has to say, "Let's get out of here."
Yeah, and related to that, the big one in horror is always the person going off by themselves who dies. It was big in Alien Covenant, whereas someone would always go off by themselves when you're like, oh well, they're dead.
Hey, kind of a spoiler, I guess, but we didn't say who, so there you go. Also, in terms of characters in horror movies specifically, I think a big one is going downstairs or going upstairs. Okay, bye, you're dead.
Yeah.
Film Roast Show, who is just joining us. Thank you for tuning in. She says, in rom-coms, when they say, wait, I can explain, and then they don't, and they have to wait another 25 minutes for the plot to keep going and going and going and going.
Right.
That's a great one.
Yeah, it's always like some awkward situation, and they were like in a weird position. Wait, I can explain this. Yeah, I totally get that. In the movie of your life, if they made a movie about your life, this is a very important question.
This is a very important question to Big J and I.
Who would play you in the movie of your life?
Oh my God! Wow. Anyone alive, living, obviously. Well, if he was a little younger, I'll say by a whole decade's worth. I would have personally picked Ralph Macchio.
Oh no! Okay. Who else? It sounded like you had more.
I guess in my later years when I discovered high school wrestling and did some football and actual pro wrestling training later on in 2009. If he was a little younger, maybe a Tom Hardy.
You're killing me, Mike. I just lost $5 because of you.
What? Oh, that was the question. What? Who'd you say?
I said Dave Bautista, man.
Oh my God! See,
I thought for sure.
I swear, I did think of him, but he's like a foot taller than me. So
that is true. Josh actually asked. He said, "How tall is Mike?" And I said, "I don't know. I don't think he's as tall as Dave Bautista, but he's not short."
Yeah.
No, I'm at least a good 5'10" without shoes on. Dave Bautista, he's like a 6'3", 6'4" man, and if I would try to have as much accuracy in a biopic as possible, and trying to explain, so how's this actor a foot taller than you playing you, trying to be you? It's bad enough that we took like 50 pounds of makeup to cover up all of his tats. Now we got to explain why he's a foot taller than you in this point of your life.
That's true.
Yeah, Batista could play me if he got in better shape.
Maybe
full of shit, but that's all right.
Yeah.
Well,
the best reason I could say, I don't know, a second wave of testosterone. I don't know. What can I tell you?
Chung in the chat actually says I'm getting a Batista vibe from JM as well. So I mean, I know people have told you that in real life that you kind of look like Dave Bautista. So I thought for sure, now I got to pay up.
Well, sorry.
That's all right. So who would direct that movie with either Ralph Macchio or Tom Hardy as good old JM?
Wow.
Who would direct that movie? And bonus question, kind of on the spot. You don't have to answer. It was not prepared. I just thought of it right this second. What would the title of your movie be called?
Well, definitely not JM, because that could stand for anything. I I would know a bunch of guys or the ones that come up with those memes online when just jam means this and that, and it's gonna get into territory that's gonna be too personal and insulting. But um, wow, as far as director goes, there aren't too many now that don't use special effects. I know it's a bit of a stretch to mention Christopher Nolan, but he does end up using special effects or CGI as much as he claims he's not. But you are look at Inception. But either him, Nolan, or maybe even a John Singleton. John Singleton has related to so many people with his films. Um, just like Boys in the Hood to tell the story about specific characters or and in that case, three guys growing up in a rough neighborhood, and to show it off, to actually go into that neighborhood that they're talking about and feel that vibe. In my case, oh my goodness, there was this one film that Channing Tatum was in. You probably didn't see it, but it was filmed in my neighborhood back in New York. And for all I know, I could have had a cameo in it. I'll have to watch that film frame by frame because there was a scene in the elevated train station in my actual neighborhood, and it's also based about my neighborhood. The guide to recognizing your saints.
I've heard of it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's a bunch of people in there. Robert Downey Jr., Shia LaBeouf.
Rosario?
Rosario, yeah, Rosario Dawson, yeah, and Eric Roberts, and I think I was going to college, and there was a whole bunch of film crew all over the place, and there were no actors around. And it's like, are you part of the film? I'm like, you're making a film? No, I'm sorry. So this hot set. What's a hot set? I'm waiting for my train. But no, but I did see the film, and the director's name escapes me because he has one of those tongue twisting names, and it turns out that he grew up in my neighborhood. He wrote a book about the same titled movie, and he directed it. I think he co-produced it as well. Dito Mantel, if I'm saying it right. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll go with that.
Sure.
Yeah.
He did write it, and he wrote the book about it. That's cool.
I'm gonna watch it again now.
All right. Good answer. Oh, I know. I want to watch it. I mean, I looked at the cast list. I'd heard of it, but I'd never seen it. That's a very impressive cast list.
It is.
So we've been talking a lot about what your favorite movies are and what are your favorite directors, what are your favorite stuff. What is it about a movie that makes you really like? What's those qualities of a movie you look for when you go see a movie?
In general, and they could be about anything, any kind of genre, but make me care about the characters. You know, whether it's dialogue or visuals. Basically invest in such character, and hell, I could relate or invest in characters that are playing the villain, and understanding the reasons why he's doing or what he or she are doing to get money or to prevent going to jail, committing crimes, like the Sandman from Spider-Man 3. He was committing robberies because his daughter was sick and needed to get money for medicine. Nobody else was doing it. And most recently, again, with another Spider-Man film, with what Michael Keaton does with The Vulture. And I get it. You were screwed, and you got to make money somehow, somewhere. Not that I condone the actions, but if I could relate and understand versus say what you hear on the news, and I invest some bit of conscience or care in the world for such person or such character, then yeah, that's all it takes, really. It could be about an Alice in Wonderland, and I care more about the actual rabbit than Allison or the Mad Hatter, then something's wrong. You know.
I think that's a huge problem with movies now is because they make them so cheap, because they make them so fast, and because they have 18,000 writers on most movies. I mean, well, that's not true. Even Spider-Man had, 6+ writers, and that was really, really good. We loved it.
Right.
I think that there is such a push to get movies out as quickly as possible, as methodically as possible, with no real care to getting those details right, and they just kind of gloss over a lot of stuff a lot of the times. Because to be honest, the majority of the movies we've seen this year have been crap. Seriously, there have been way more crappy movies than there have been good ones. And I think that is the perfect answer. I think that if you don't care about the characters, I'm literally just sitting here wasting time. Why am I here? I could just sit and waste time at my house.
Right.
What are these? Why? What are their motivations? What are these people like? That is such a very succinct, excellent answer. Josh, do you think that you agree? Is that your number one, or do you have a different answer? I'd like to know your opinion as well.
Well, I've always said the characters are key. Like, you've probably heard me, if you listen to our show on the regular, I've said that a lot. If you have good characters, you will have at least a decent movie. If you can get people to care, give a fuck about your characters, they'll be there, and they'll be invested in whatever story you're telling. Even if there are like mistakes in the story and there are little kind of plot holes, they can forgive those if they care about the characters. The other one for me is, of course, the emotional impact of a movie. It's a visceral thing. It's nothing that you can. It's an intangible, almost, and it's something that you can feel while you're watching it. And it's a level of excitement, a level of way the movie moves you personally inside that kind of comes out while you're watching it. And that one is it's like so intangible you can't really describe why it is. It's just something. It's just your reaction to it. It's like looking at, like, some people look at a certain work of art. Some people look at a certain work of art and see something really great, and other people say that's like a square and a circle on a white background. What the fuck is that? You know? It's,
wow. Put it bluntly. Okay, Mike, do you want to? It's been an hour. I know we said we'd go about an hour and a half. Do you want to keep going, or you want to kind of wind it down here? We leave it completely up to you because we got a lot more questions. But
really,
I know the very last question I want to ask you. So that's why I ask.
No, I don't. I'm cool with this. If you guys are okay, let's keep it going.
We could just go with some real rapid fire ones before.
Yeah.
Real quick. So,
okay.
What's your best and worst sequels?
Oh wow, best sequels. Pretty much any sequel that had all loose ends tied up. But in particular, I would say Terminator 2 because that was probably one of the best tied up loose ends film I've ever seen. No, made no point to part 3, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Part 3.
And worst, that I find a little difficult to pinpoint because there's so many, and I happen to sit through so many. Any film that was it was a sequel that was supposed to be picking up from the previous film, but changed its genre or changed its direction or made itself a self-aware film, or it was a horror, now part 2 is a comedy. Why? Like Silent Night, Deadly Night. Silent Night, Deadly Night. Easy for me to say. Like it started off strong with that unique first one, and then it just literally it intentionally made jokes about itself and what was going on, and made the killings or the murders in the sequels just a joke. Like, oh, okay, so funny to cut up a person in like 8 different pieces. Yeah, but because we all know why they do that is because for the cash-ins and to intentionally reach a different audience without you even noticing, and it's a cash-in for them, but. And we lose because we weren't entertained by them.
That is true. Okay, another rapid fire question. Favorite animated movie?
Oh my goodness, I would have to go with the Transformers, the movie. There are a few Disney flicks, but there's too many to name right now. I think I stopped after Lilo and Stitch, and I think I kind of grew out. I kind of grew out of them from that point on. Not that I don't watch them, like Moana. I did see Frozen. I did see, not by choice, but it's in my memory somewhere. And then if my nieces and nephews ask me about that, and okay, yeah, I did see it under protest, but I did see them.
Oh, Moana's so much better. Do you have another rapid fire, real quick question? I got another one.
Okay, go for it.
Favorite, kind of switching gears a little bit here. What is your favorite movie theater snack?
Oh, wow, good one. Definitely, I can't go without nachos and cheese. the mouth watering right now as I'm thinking about them. I gotta have them.
I can't remember the last time I had nachos and cheese at a movie. Maybe we should do that next time we go to the movies.
It was a while ago.
It was a long time ago. How about a favorite movie led by a woman?
Ooh, led by a woman. Anyone with Selma Hayek. But there aren't too many, and I'm not sexist or anything like that. It's just I haven't seen too many that happen to be led by a woman. I mean, it's easy for me to say, like Wonder Woman recently with Gal Gadot, but no, I think speaking of Selma Hayek, what she did Frida, and it was all about the artist of the real name, and she was actually a fan of the real Frida growing up, so it kind of fit perfectly for her to play the character Frida. And I know there are others out there. I just can't think of them right now, but Selma Hayek stands out right now. She did that one flick recently with oh my God, you seen the guys a couple of weeks ago?
Oh, Beatrice at Dinner?
Yeah, Speeches at Dinner. Yeah, I'm dying to see that one. It caught my attention because she was in it, and then I realized the kind of film it is. Like, oh wow, okay, that's different. It's not like Savages that she was in as well, or Desperado films. So yeah, I like it when they switch it up like that. And if it works out between the actors and the director to do something different that we're accustomed to you seeing, like Selma's back in the day was always eye candy. And she's a mother now. She's grown up. She's over 50 years old, if you can believe it, and she's still doing her thing, just more serious in tone.
Desperado. Last one? Okay, you say last one. Okay, now,
Okay.
I know where you live. Everyone will now know, because I'm going to tell you where he lives. He lives in Florida. It's storming. It's hurricane season. It's hot.
Yeah.
It's muggy.
Yeah.
Same in San Diego. It's hot. It's muggy. It was 90 degrees today. I cannot do this. Shit. So now, Mike, get out your favorite blanket, snuggle up real tight. Think of Christmas. The best holiday. Think of Christmas.
Yeah.
Name for us, please, your top 3 favorite Christmas movies. And then the follow-up to this, I will ask when you are done.
Okay. One of my first Christmas films as I watched growing up as a kid was Gremlins. And then later on was Christmas Vacation. And of course, I think everybody's favorite and commonly familiar with Home Alone.
Good choices. Very excellent choices. And now the follow-up question is, do you consider Die Hard a Christmas movie, or are you wrong?
Originally, I would say any movie, any film based on Christmas Day itself and not go 1 week longer or a day or two after is a Christmas movie. But I've learned to just expand a little bit. If it's Christmas related, then yeah, it's a Christmas movie. But yeah, because it's based loosely based on during a Christmas party. And I think it's like right before. I think it was Christmas Eve or the day before Christmas Eve, and everybody's all together in the Nakatomi building. And yeah, I would play it, I would watch it, and I definitely would consider it a Christmas movie. Hell, even Google says so that it is.
Google has the right answer, as do you. Welcome to the party, pal.
Oh.
So good. It's not Christmas unless Hans Gruber falls off Nakatomi Plaza.
Exactly.
Aw, all of my favorite Christmas movies have Alan Rickman in them. Aw.
Yeah.
I'm still not over it. He was my favorite.
Yeah, that was a shame.
Oh, that's another good question that we could add to our little list here is favorite actors that have passed. That's a good question. So Mike, how would you rate this interview on a scale of 1 to 10? Keeping in mind that anything less than a 10, no. No, I'm just kidding. I think that this was great. This was awesome. Thank you so much for being our very first guest. Of course, we do this show live, so as you heard earlier, the dog barked.
Yeah.
It happens.
No, it's cool. As you know, I have my own dogs too, and it's a handful to keep them quiet long enough. I get it, then it's no problem.
Mike has a gaggle of dachshunds.
Yeah, I have my
so
own little
cute.
army.
Yep. Little tiny stubby-footed army. So yeah, I want to say thank you very much again for coming on and being our guinea pig, so to speak. This was the first episode of the Get to Know a Cinephile segment. We are planning to do this regularly, maybe not as frequently as our normal show, maybe once every other week, maybe once a month. We're still, like I said at the beginning of the show, working out the kinks. If you guys have any feedback, please let us know. If you have any questions you would like us to ask our guests, also hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter. We are at LoloLovesFilms. We will be more than willing and happy to add these questions to the list. And Mike, I would love for you to plug your social media stuff, because I know that you recently reviewed a little movie called Spider-Man Homecoming on your YouTube channel.
Yes, I'm pretty much across social media as you guys are. Facebook.com/goodoldjm. At Snapchat, goodoldjm. Instagram, goodo_jm. And at Twitter.com/goodo_jm.
Every time you say Facebook.com/goodoldjm, I think of how quick you are to jump to it on the other show. It's so great.
I gotta do something when there's dead air, so I gotta say something. What do I do? What do I do?
That is true. That is true. So yeah, we did not cover all of the questions that we had, though we did get through a good chunk of them. I hope that in the future, other people would like to contribute. I'd love to get some female voices on the show. I know we have one film fan lined up that is a woman, and I'd love to know if you have other women that would love to do this with us. Hit us up. We don't want just men on the show. I mean, for fuck's sake, it's a sausage party at some I'm the only lady. I run this thing, and it's like, come on, get some ladies on here. And, we're going to hopefully have success with this segment. It seems like people liked it. It seems like people were throwing in their 2 cents and their questions. So, of course, Mike, everybody said this was a great segment. You did really well. Thank you so much again.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
This was fun, and it was such a pleasure. I can't thank you guys enough.
Maybe we'll have to have you on again after we've gone through a couple people. We'll ask you more questions, because everybody seems to enjoy you when you're on the show. So that's great. I'm glad. And if I may, real quick, I'm going to plug our channel, our YouTube channel, which we just started back up again. Not again. We kind of took a couple week break because it's hard to make YouTube videos. So now we're starting it again, and we have a good system. So youtube.com/LoloLovesFilms, as well as LoloLovesFilms.com. Follow us all over the internet, and thanks for joining us. Mike, you had one more thing to say. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to cut you off. Stupid lag.
No, it's all right. It's your show. Just want to thank everyone who listened in and for the questions in the chat room. Much appreciated. And in turn, I'll do the very same when the next one is chosen, and I'll be sure to ask questions myself in the chat as a way to saying thank you. Thank you very much.
That was awesome. I'm glad. Thank you very much for doing this. And we will be back on Wednesday for our regularly scheduled program. If we go to the movies at some point, it's too damn hot. We haven't been to the movies yet, so. And then Saturday afternoon at 4 p.m. is our Cinephile Film Club meeting, where we're going to discuss horror movies with host Q Known. So there's that. Cool. Lots of fun stuff on the horizon to look forward to. So, Mike, I will say au revoir. Big J, you will say goodbye.
Yes, thank you for listening.
And, tune in Wednesday. Bye, guys.